Yeah, so I mean, Sunset's put out a bear of a schedule for the pro late models, like just marquee race after marquee race. You know,
Yeah.
we start the year with the Slaughter Classic, and then they bump the Hanley up to 172 laps, and they're making Velocity its own special, and there's just, and that's only th 3 nights of, I think it's like 10. So, you know, there's so much excitement coming in because, you know, I'm finally starting to feel truly like I have found my footing,
Right.
and really start to kind of be myself. It sounds like a weird statement, but I'm really starting to find my strengths in the car now. So
Right. No, I mean, I totally get that because I think one of the big things I wanted to bring up with you was near the end of the year and the Junior Hanley Classic. I mean that no, that I mean that was awesome to see, you on the podium and a great run throughout the race, like running up front, like from start to finish.
well, I mean, start we were like last, but
Sure, sure, but working your way to the front, well, and that as it
we
went on.
got there eventually. It was that was a day. You know, the I qualified awful as all of my team. I was not happy because I know I can do better than that. It's still a weak point for me, but I'm
Hmm.
not that bad. And that one, I was so mad. So I just, you know, had to reset and go, you know, it's 144 laps. You got time. So I just, you know, I had Katrina on the radio, and obviously she spotted for Dale at the big long race at Jukasa. She's Eric's spotter in APC, so she knows how to manage the longer races. In theory, I do too, but it's very different when you're actually the one driving the car, not the one telling the people what to do.
Right.
So it's nice to have her there just to kind of talk me through it. Dad was on my radio too, and they were always just kind of reminding me like only use what you need. So like I just very quietly worked my way through the field. I'd kind of ride in a spot if I felt safe, like people were just kind of riding and behaving. I would kind of hang out there for a while, kind of in a little bubble, just, you know, biding the time, saving the car. And if their pace fell off enough where I didn't want to be behind them anymore, I just go around them. And then, you know, before I even knew it, we were at halfway.
Hmm.
And all the cars who were coming in came in, and Katrina comes on the radio. She goes, "You'll be restarting ninth." And my brain exploded. We were 25th not that long ago. How did we get to ninth? And yeah, same thing after that. Just kept quietly working my way forward, and it
Hmm.
worked out for us. The car obviously was phenomenal. Both, well, not both, all three of the Shaw cars in the field were fantastic. Like Blair set pole and almost got the track record.
Yep.
Dale obviously was the dominant car, and then I was able to do what I did. So it that's something I've noticed that's very hard for me coming from minis. In minis, you have a good car, you have a good car. Like
Right.
it's good, and the driver can compensate for a lot in those cars. And in late models, if you're off, you're off. That's it.
You're like,
And
that's, you can't, it's because it's so close, right?
exactly, you're off by a tenth, you're 10th place now. And it's the beauty of that competition, but that's what it's so tough.
Hmm.
So, I mean, to do what I did, like I said, I just kept moving methodically forward, just kept my head down and worked, and suddenly we're third. It's like, oh, okay.
So with having that run late in the year and also like the progress that we saw you build throughout the season, what are the goals now as we head into 2024?
So I I really would like to knock my first feature win off. I am very aware that there are people that run late models forever and that are really talented that never do that.
Yeah.
I'm also very aware that I run with an extraordinarily tough field week in and week out. Like when you roll on the track, if we have a 12 car field, 10 of them could probably win the race that night. And
Mhm.
that's just the reality at Sunset Speedway, which is great.
Yeah.
It's turning me into the most competitive version of myself. And it's why I race there, right? I want to run with the best. So I would love to try. Obviously, things have to go I need that good car that I had at the Hanley. I need my head to be in the right spot and I need all the luck.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, we're at a point where we can, if it all falls in the right spots, we can do it. I had a couple nights last year, like I finished second and third in the same night in the twin 35s, like to Gordy. And
Yeah.
Gordy and I were side by side repeatedly throughout that second feature. I it I'm not aggressive. I still struggle on short runs. So, these are things I know I have to work on, but realistically, it's not out of my reach to
Right.
get a get a win. That's the next step for us.
Well, I mean, and kind of what you were mentioning about, what you struggle on, and that you mentioned like the short runs. That kind of builds into the next question I had, and that what do you feel that you and the team need to work on together to get you to where you're at that next point?
So my team, phenomenal. They don't have to change anything ever. They are great. They give me good cars, great cars every
Yeah.
week. They're always so good with keeping me out of my head, keeping me out of trouble. Like I don't run rear view mirror, so I have to trust that my spotter is on it.
Mhm.
I can't verify if they're lying to me. I just have to trust that they're on it. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. And that's why like I've always had either Dale or Katrina spotting for me. And
Right.
that's great. Like they're obviously Katrina's my best friend. Dale, yes, we're cousins, but we grew up together. Like it's just they're very, very familiar with me. Um, and then for me, the qualifying is still my biggest, biggest issue.
Right.
Um, I've, I talked to Blair a lot about it because obviously he has it figured out. I he has explained to me about 6 times what he does, and it still makes absolutely no sense to me.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, we're very different drivers. Like we're as different as you can get behind the wheel of a race car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's funny in a way, but both of us can get around quickly. I think I have a better grasp on long runs,
Right.
particularly Sunset. Well, obviously, I am truly untried anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where you kind of, had your experience to date with the late model.
Right. And where Blair is really strong at Flamborough, Sauble, like he's good at other tracks and he has a lot of abilities that he's strong where I'm weak, effectively. So, I mean, short runs, that short-lived aggression is something I've never been great at. Even in
Right.
minis, I've always just been very methodical and patient. I take my time unless I'm really mad. But like that's always been me. So that's something I really have to work on. And I think that's why I'm not getting the qualifying part down.
Okay.
It requires this really aggressive, throw it all on the line mindset that I don't know how to get there. I don't have it. I have to go figure out where it is. I have no idea.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I get that fact of qualifying because you got to trust that everything's right there right away. It's not like you can warm up to it and see, if you guys got that handling built in the car and that, right? So I kind of get what you're saying with that different mindset feel.
it's different mindset. It starts the second we roll because Sunset rolls us out. We could do like a lap of the track and then we go down pit road.
Yeah.
So qualifying actually that mindset has to start when you roll out because you have to get the tires warm in that half a lap at a quarter speed.
Mm.
Yeah. Because if you don't get the car warm enough then,
Yep.
now you've sacrificed most of your qualifying run trying to get the car warm. And I'm pretty sure that's the part. Because I come off and I'm like, I needed one more lap. Like
Yeah.
you could feel when the car starts to come in, and that's always what I say. It's like, I needed one more. It was right there. I needed one more lap. And
One more lap
it's
and I'll hit that mark.
yeah, one more lap and the car's there. Like I know it's there. And it just, like I said, it's been my kryptonite in late model racing. And obviously it was a change, right? I'm used to heat races. I
Yeah.
did qualifying once a year at Frosttoberfest in the mini, and that's not the same thing.
No.
So yeah, that's been my struggle, is trying to wrap my head around this whole monster.
Right. You mentioned like having that trust in your spotter, and I know like you've also done a lot of spotting yourself even before you start driving late models on that.
Yeah.
How much did that spotting yourself help when it came time to getting with the late model and having now to have a spotter for you?
It's kind of funny. Dale and I, we talk about this a lot, and we kind of have the theory that the best spotters are actually drivers themselves.
Okay.
Because all I'm doing on the radio is telling that driver what I would want to hear if I was driving. And
Okay.
I've done that from day one. Like even when I was spotting for Steve Laking, like down in Smyrna and at Nashville and all these big tracks, I was like 13, 14. I didn't really know. Like I was just telling him what I thought I would want to know based
Right.
on what I experienced in the mini stock. Right. So that was a big one. And it's the biggest thing with spotting is you really see how fast the closing rates are in these cars. Like you get a true appreciation for how fast things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because like as a driver, until something happens in front of you and you have nowhere to go and it's half a second, you don't appreciate how quick you're going. You're kind of in a little bubble.
Yeah.
Um, but as a spotter, I can sit there and I can see that this thing that happened in turn one, well, my guy's in turn four, and he's still probably going to have a problem because it's blocking the track. It's going to affect the whole field. You see these weird relationships with things.
Right.
And then the other thing too, and I try not to do it too much, but I'm as a driver myself, when I'm spotting, I can relay to the drivers, okay, you're losing time this section, this section, this section. You're too high here, you're too low here. Like I can break it down how I would if I was driving. So I help the team try to get better that way. Because places like Delaware, the team can't see what the car is doing,
Yeah.
but I can. So I will say, okay, you're losing time on entry, or you're losing time in the center. I can relay that and help the team as a whole get better. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, little knacks and tricks.
it's just stuff that you don't even think of until you either been in the car or been around it long enough that it's little stuff you pick up. And
Right.
racing's a game of quarters and sixteenths of inches, not miles.
100%, especially like we say, as we mentioned in the beginning, the field just separated by tenths.
Exactly.
So it's no surprise to see you involved in racing. I mean, your family's been involved. We've talked about that several times. But
Yep.
what is it about it that you enjoy that keeps bringing you back every year?
I like the I like being able to take what I've learned about the cars. So the more I learn about how the car works, how this angle in this arm changes this thing, like all the technical stuff that makes my head hurt, the more I learn about it, the better I do in the car.
Mm,
And I love that I can come in, we can change the angle of something, and I'll go back out and I can feel in the seat what exactly that did. I
right.
can't always explain in words, but I can feel what it did. And it's the other thing too is like the adrenaline rush is obviously a big one. There is nothing like strapping in a
Here is here if you want.
500 horsepower race car and going as fast as we do, and the G forces and the hills and the banking and here's a group of 30. Good luck. So
Now, we saw you go from mini stocks. I mean, you spent plenty of time there and that before you made this jump to late model. But is there
yeah.
anything else like out there that you want to try?
Um, I I never even thought I'd get the chance to try late model. I'll be
Okay.
totally, that sounds so like coy and fake, but like I really didn't. Um, just it's been a dream for me these last few years getting the chance and then actually being able to prove that I can do it.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, like it's just so my family, it's what we do. We do late models. We do mini stocks too, but like we do late models. Um,
You learn in minis and then eventually you send the kids all the late models and that, and that's where you kind of stay with you guys.
I had lots of people over the years, like while I was still in mini, asking when I was getting a Thunder card. I'm like, probably never.
Yeah.
Like we have late models sitting around. I'm not getting a Thunder car. That would be silly.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of our joke. I think the coolest thing for me, like the next kind of big goal, I would love to try running some stuff in the States, like maybe the Cars Tour Pro Late model. Love to
Right.
try a couple of those. New Smyrna would be fabulous. Like just some of those big pro late model events, I think would be really, really cool.
Hmm.
Because that's kind of where I'm at. I I always kind of said, trying like a vintage modified once, like I'll sit in one and practice it, and that would probably be enough for me. Like
Right.
just, and that's more just because, my grandpa obviously raced them for years, and so did many, many uncles.
Yeah.
So that's more of a curiosity thing than anything else. So it that's really the only thing that would be different.
Yeah, I totally get that with the family background, right? And that, like, some drivers will go, "Oh, I want to try this and try that," because they grew up watching it. But like, to stay with you guys, it's been made late models, and that's
Yeah.
what we all know the Shaw's for.
Yeah.
And so,
At one point there was 6, 7, or 8 vintage modifieds that were in the family, and then we all moved on, and now we're all in late models. Well, almost all.
who do you consider your racing hero?
Oh boy. Loaded. Um, I have always looked up to my family, like watching Uncle Jake and Uncle Steve. Um, I anytime someone compares me to them,
Right.
that's the biggest compliment to me. Like my first laps in Steve's late model, I actually tested it at Flamborough, like kind of in the middle of COVID when nothing else was happening. Um, and Junior was there, and I got out of the car, and I only did about 10 laps. Like that's all I did. He let me take it out. That's just for fun. And I got out of the car, and Junior kind of came over and he gave me a hug, and he goes, he looks at my uncle and he goes, her corner's better than yours. And like that was 4 years ago, and it has stuck to me. Like that was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he was joking or serious, but that has stuck to me. Like, and that's been my thing. I've watched Dale in the first APC series was so dominant.
Yep.
And then, my cousin from the South, Cole, and he was beating the current NASCAR stars in his super late model.
Yeah.
Like most people say have a racing idols as NASCAR stars. A lot of people say they're family members, and I get it. Like I have loved watching my family succeed.
Hmm.
And just to get to kind of enjoy all that with them has been great. So now it's my turn.
Well, I was gonna say, Sunset also had the fun addition this year of your brother joining the fray and that, and getting to see Blaze's first laps.
Yeah. That was kind of a surprise through COVID when I had moved up. He started to come around and show interest, and he never ever really had before. So we let him it's not easy. Not been
Hmm.
easy letting my car go. Um Obviously anytime I say I want to run it again, like he'll just hand me the steering wheel, but it's still it's getting a little easier now to, he's getting it. Whenever I try not to pick at him too much, but if I do offer advice, he's very good about trying to listen. We try
Yeah.
not to overload him. We're trying to let him figure it out. And obviously he's done really, really well. So
Hmm. Oh, I mean, like I had the interview with him like not long ago there, and he was saying like it's been a blast and that, and like you said, it was a bit of surprise, but he's enjoyed it and that, which is great to see, right? You always want that. You want to start off by enjoying it at the beginning.
Well, you want to enjoy it forever. We don't need to spend
Yes.
the kind of money we spend and not enjoy it.
No, this is true. It's a hobby first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's been great. And like, with him racing, we go to the track every weekend and it's our whole family's there.
yeah,
Like our uncles, our cousins, grandparents, everybody's there. And, we always on the way up to the track, we stop at my uncle's and we take Peyton, Dale's daughter, for like a swim. And we all kind of
yeah.
hang out at the pool for a couple hours and then we go to the track. And that's just our day. Like it's other people have cottages and go on vacations. We go to the racetrack.
Gonna say if you're not at Sunset with your late model, you're at an APC race with Blair and that, or you're, somewhere else with the mini stock, right? So,
Yeah, and that's just been how we have done life for forever. Working with my schedule now, being a nurse, I may not make as many APC events, which I don't love missing,
yeah.
especially now that I can't actually just watch them on my phone anymore. But I love my job. I do. I will only be grumpy for a little bit that I'm missing things, but
Mm.
it's still anytime I can be there, I will be there in a heartbeat.